In this video, we are going to discuss selection, and selection is an important part in human resource management. Let us see what selection is. And before that, we will just show you the what are the contents involved in this video. First, we will discuss the meaning of selection and selection versus recruitment, steps in selection, barriers to effective selection, requirement of a good selection process, and importance of selection. What is selection? Selection is a process of selecting a fixed number of personnel with the requisite qualifications and competence for jobs from a large number of applicants. The main aim of selection is to choose persons who can perform the job effectively and remain with the company. There is a difference between selection and recruitment. Selection is an attempt to find suitable candidates for the job. In selection, many unsuitable applications are rejected. This makes selection a negative function. In contrast to this, recruitment is a positive function because it attempts to increase the number of applicants for the job. What are the steps in selection process? The selection process consists of a series of methods or steps or stages. At each stage, new facts come to light which may lead to the rejection of an applicant. In selection, an applicant is to cross a series of barriers before he is finally selected. A generalized selection process has the following steps. Step number 1, preliminary interview. This step is to eliminate unqualified applicants. This step helps reject misfits for jobs. Preliminary interview can also be called a courtesy interview. Step number 2, selection test. Different tests are administered to determine the applicant's ability, aptitude, and personality. Ability or achievement tests determine the capability of an individual to perform the task, for instance, typing test. On the other hand, an aptitude test determines a person's potential to learn in a given area. General management aptitude test is an example of this. Step number 3, employment interview. Interview is an oral examination conducted for the purpose of employment. It evaluates the applicant's acceptability. In selection interview, the interviewer matches the information about the candidates to the job requirements. Interview gives the opportunity. These are the advantages of interview. First, it helps to size up the candidate personally. It will help us to ask the questions not covered in test. It will help us to assess subjective aspects like facial expression, appearance, etc. of the candidate, and it will help to tell the candidates about the company and its products, services, and policies. But interview has certain problems or limitations like the absence of reliability, personal and subjective judgments. Step number 4, checking references. Organizations request references, including names, address, telephone numbers, and email IDs of persons who know the candidates for the purpose of verifying information and to get additional information on applicants. References can be in the form of letters or telephone references. The latter is advantageous because of its accuracy and low cost. References serve two purposes. One is to gain insight into the candidate from the people who know the candidate well. Second is to assess the potential success of a prospective candidate. Step number 5, selection decision. In this stage, candidates are referred to different line officers who finally decide the work to be assigned to them. If one line officer decides that the candidate is not suitable for a particular work, he will be sent to another line officer. If candidate's performance is not up to the mark, he will be kept as an apprenticeship for some time. Normally, a candidate is not rejected at this stage. Step number 6, physical examination. At this stage, the candidate is required to undergo physical fitness test. A job offer is contingent upon the candidate being declared physically fit. Step number 7, job offer. In this step, job is offered to those applicants who have passed all the hurdles. Job offer is made in the form of an appointment letter that contains the date on or before the candidates must report for duty. Step number 8, employment contract. After the candidate accepts the job offer, a contract is executed by the employer and the candidate. The contract may cover many conditions which have to be agreed by both the employer and candidate. Evaluation, step number 9. Properly conducted selection process will ensure the availability of competent and committed personnel. A period audit will evaluate the effectiveness of the selection process. Now we will discuss the barriers to effective selection process. The following are the barriers. One is perception. People perceive things differently. Our limited perceptual ability acts as a barrier to the effective selection process. Second, fairness. Fairness in selection requires that there should not be any discrimination on the basis of gender, caste, and creed. If the process is not fair, it will adversely affect the selection process. Point number 3, validity. Validity is a test that helps predict job performance of an incumbent. If the test is not validated, it can harm the selection process. Reliability. A reliable method is one which produces consistent results when repeated in similar circumstances. If reliability is absent, and this will also harm the process of selection. Last point is pressure. Pressure on selectors by vested interest can adversely affect the effectiveness of the selection process. Now, what are the requirements of a good selection process? A good selection process satisfies or should satisfy the following conditions. Number 1, there should be sufficient number of applicants. Number 2, there should be some persons, body or commission, who is assigned the authority to conduct the selection process. And number 3, there should be some standard of personnel with which a prospective employee may be compared. What are the significance of selection process? The following are the significance of or importance of selection process. First one, selection process helps to procure skilled workforce. Point number 2, proper selection process helps reduce the training cost as only better hands are chosen for jobs. And point number 3, proper selection process reduces personal problems in the organization.